3 5-minute rounds if they need them in the Cage Warriors welterweight division. Phil Wells with the black and grey trim, Konrad Iwanowski in the blue, and we immediately see the height and reach advantage for the Englishman, Josh.
Yeah, and he's thrown out a couple of hip feints already to suggest that kicking game. I mean, definitely the longer-limbed fighter. See if he can stay on the outside.
Very measured start from both fighters. Wells just pouring out with that lead left hand here, looking to flick the hips. Iwanowski just see if he can bait a reaction.
I mean, he's really accentuating that right hip feint.
And this is where it's difficult for fighters who are giving up. Oh, nice head kick there. Iwanowski just shakes that one off. This is where it's difficult for those shorter fighters, Josh, because effectively they have to take a step or two in before they can get into their own striking range. Wells has the advantage of being able to stand outside the pocket and fire those long shots off.
Yeah, it's a really interesting kind of striking style from Wells at the moment. He's kind of rolling his head around in a very fluid, almost kind of nonchalant expression on his face.
Nice shot over the top there from Wells. Iwanowski staying strong here.
So much more traditional boxing stance for Iwanowski.
Punch to the neck there from Wells. Thoroughly unpleasant. And it appears that there's a bit of support in the house of Phil Wells. Bit of a crowd chant going on, early doors here at the Indigo.
And that was great work for Iwanowski to throw the punch, leave it hanging out there, and then cover up the takedown attempt behind it. Let's see if he can connect his hands here. Wells is working for that crossface, but Iwanowski's keeping the head in very tight indeed. Switching for the single now, and a good elbow on the break.
From memory of Konrad's fights early in his career, both as a professional and an amateur, he really has had that bulldozer style. I believe he started at middleweight, but he's been able to carry that short, stocky frame and power down with him to 170 pounds.
Yeah, that was a lot of power as he pushed Wells back against the cage, and it was an excellently well disguised entry.
Nice shot from Iwanowski there. Wells standing strong though. He's getting caught here though.
Iwanowski on a single, picks it up. He tries to dump him off it, successful, but let's see what Wells does here. Straight back up to the feet. There's a very technical stand-up from him, posted and just lifted himself up. Iwanowski's gonna have to work pretty hard here as he's in on a single again.
Now he may need to check the seat of his pants for springs, Josh, the speed at which he popped back up from that one. Iwanowski looking to drag his man off the cage here.
Yeah, switching.
Wells basing well.
Switching to the ankle pick, unsuccessful, back to the double. It's a pretty classic sequence, double off to the single. There we go, single down to the ankle again.
Great defensive work from Wells here as he tries to drop a few elbows into the mix as well. Yeah, keep Iwanowski guessing.
Wells had the good head position there, but there we go. You see Wells, when he's taller and he gets his head underneath like that, it's going to be very unpleasant for Iwanowski. Such amount of leverage on his forehead.
Wells looking very light on his feet here. Chasing Konrad around the cage. Nice right hand there, and again Konrad shakes it off, takes a knee there as well before he drives Wells into the cage.
I mean, we're seeing excellent takedown defense from Wells, and when you play this kind of kickboxing open style that he is, takedown defense is absolutely critical. And you see how wide he can get his base. That's another benefit of these long limbs. Really wide, stable base. Iwanowski's never going to be able to connect his hands around both of them. But these are interesting strikes to the inside of the thigh. He's targeting the femoral artery there.
Interesting to note, Josh, in Iwanowski's corner, Chris Fields speaking English to him and his other cornerman speaking Polish. I wonder how that's if that's confusing at all when you're busy trying to fight a 6'2" welterweight. Ah, nice uppercut from Wells in close. Iwanowski trying to rag his man back onto the cage though. They break. Final 10 seconds of the round, and it's Wells moving forward. Nice counter shot there.
I don't think Wells needs to get tied up in the clinch. That gives Iwanowski a chance to use some of that power. He can do the damage on the outside, so that's probably where he's best staying. That's a very close round.
Yeah, very close round indeed.
I mean, there was a lot of good forward pressure from Iwanowski, but the takedown defense of Wells really put a stop to all of it, bar one brief takedown.
Let's take a look back at some of the action. A beautiful two-piece there from Konrad Iwanowski on the way in, and able to duck back out of range. Big knee up the middle from Phil Wells. And here we see Iwanowski attacking the inside of that leg as Wells faces out to defend the takedown. So definitely a lot to pick apart for our judges, Josh.
Yeah, it's a target area you don't see, successfully struggle that often. But I think there were some very good strikes for Iwanowski.
Very much all to play for, and the body language of Phil Wells says he's game to play. Some incredible action coming up for you tonight, both on our prelims here on Facebook and of course BT Sport, 11 Sport, UFC Fight Pass from 9 p.m. UK time, including the Cage Warriors. A vacant welterweight world title will be decided by Stefano Paterno and Mehrdad Janzamini. But now it's Phil Wells, Konrad Iwanowski in the cage, second of 3 5-minute rounds. Brad Wharton and Josh Palmer calling the action from cage side. Positive start from Iwanowski there, just clipping Wells with the right hand.
Yeah, Wells really feeling out with that jab. Good check of the kick from Iwanowski.
Making a jump in with an elbow, I believe there was Iwanowski. Didn't make it count on that occasion, but certainly giving Wells a lot to think about here. Both men landing in these exchanges, Josh, and perhaps caution being thrown to the wind slightly here.
Well, they're clashing well, but both are just kind of throwing and expecting to disengage again. It would be nice, I think one of them just put something else on the end or take the other by surprise.
Good work from Iwanowski there to dip under that shot and come up with one of his own. And what we're seeing quite often here is Wells landing the first punch and Iwanowski able to counter with something special of his own. Nice 1-2 there from the Polishman.
Yeah, well, that was a good right hand from Wells, but he's not really snapping his punches back all that much. He's been very loose with that lead hand. He's dropping it, bringing it back. And a lot of times he wants to dart in and out. There he goes, catching the kick. Didn't really look like he threw that kick with full commitment. That allowed Iwanowski to just grab a hold of it.
Two-piece combination from Wells, and he missed that big right hand on the way back from Iwanowski. The Polishman throwing some heaters there in the second round.
I mean, having the power is one thing, but they've obviously got to land.
Another very, very close round so far. Just under 3 minutes left to play with. And just as it looks as the momentum's going to tip one way, it switches to the other, Josh. Both guys having flurries of offense here.
Yeah, Wells tried to get out of the way. He slid back just enough to take a lot of the power out of Iwanowski's punches. That slip of the head, but he did eat some damage, and there's Iwanowski in on a single. He's got to hustle here. He can't sit and wait. He completes, but he's got to be careful of his back here.
We saw how quickly Wells was able to get back up in the first round. Let's see if he can make a similar escape here in the second.
Yeah, Iwanowski cannot let that ankle go, otherwise he's going to be in a very bad position. He's going to try and haul that ankle through. That's a good sprawl from Wells.
Big knee to the body. Little left hook on the break from Wells.
I think that's going to have taken a little bit out of Iwanowski's gas tank. I mean, it's got to be frustrating for him now. He's shown the intent to try and take Wells down and not really successful, at least not for any length of time.
Right, very, very interesting there. We saw Konrad go for that spinning back elbow and his corner said no, keep it simple. They want their man to stick to the fundamentals here. That's what he's had success with so far. Oh, nice knee. And that one just briefly stopped Konrad in his tracks, Josh.
Yeah, it was an interesting position for Iwanowski. Good shot from the body. I do like that elbow on the inside, though.
And Wells was again going for the body there, so look for the Englishman to start body snatching now if he thinks he can hurt Iwanowski like that. Iwanowski still going for the big punches.
That knee's an excellent weapon for him, and you feel like he's getting the better of the momentum here with a minute left. You feel like the volume's just gone up that little bit, and the volume of success has gone up with it. I mean, it's going to lead to an interesting third round because I think cardio is going to start coming into this one, and with the rear knee. It's such a dangerous weapon, just, you know, in its own right, but because Iwanowski's shown the intent to come forward and change level, it just adds that extra element of danger for him.
Couple of nice elbows there from Phil Wells as he tries to defend this takedown. And his ability to stop these takedowns or reverse the position or counter when he has been taken down really has been one of the stories of this fight. Big pickup there. Doesn't work for Iwanowski.
Well, you can see, like, Iwanowski had to go so high around the backside of Wells with the grip, just because his legs are so long, that by the time he lifted him up, he was not really that high off the ground.
Looked to throw that spinning back elbow on the break there, but just a second too short for the Polishman. Josh, another very, very close round for our judges to pick apart there.
Yeah,
let's take a look back at some of the action.
I think perhaps Wells just getting the better of the strikes over the course of that 5 minutes. That was a good one too, and of course that back knee was a great weapon for him.
Does look to be slightly more commanding in these exchanges, does the Englishman. Nice leg kick there, and great balance to stay up. And there was a big body shot with the right hand. Iwanowski throwing an elbow on the break. You'd have to say, Josh, still very much anyone's game.
It certainly is, but you do feel like perhaps Wells is starting to get the better of Iwanowski in this one. Iwanowski's shown that he wants to take Wells down. He wants to put him on the ground and pound him. Unfortunately, he just can't do that. And you know, he's going to have to perhaps change his game plan a little bit in these 5 minutes. If he can't do that early.
Well, in the corner of Phil Wells is Dean Amersinger, a long-time veteran of the UK MMA scene and now making his name as a coach, and particularly noted, I believe, Josh, for his strength and conditioning regime. So perhaps we're going to see the physical tools that Wells has start to come to bear in this third round. Nice right by Konrad Iwanowski to open his account here in the third and final frame. Wells immediately going back to the body in these exchanges.
A little rear hand screw shot from Iwanowski, just sliding by the face.
Keep your fingers away, Phil. Keep your fingers away, please.
And we just heard the referee there just warn Phil Wells to keep his fingers closed. You cannot advance your hand towards your opponent with an open palm.
See, again, these are all kind of exchanges that build up to a sudden collision, and then everybody sort of backs off. It would be nice to see someone just stay stuck on the inside there and put the extra 1 or 2 strikes on.
Looking to line that shot up is Wells goes down low with the kick instead. I think you may have been right in your assessment there, Josh. It does look like Wells just getting back into this one a little bit, but takes another nice shot there from the Polishman.
Yeah, Iwanowski, when he can find the line through the middle and he lands first in that exchange, definitely do some damage. We did see in the second as well that Iwanowski gets backed up a little bit against the cage. That's starting to happen here in the third as well.
Wells is doing a good job with the occasional feints of the hips there as well, and then going upstairs with the left hand, he'll flick the right hip and immediately throw a jab, keeping the Polishman guessing. Looking for the single leg here is Konrad.
He can't afford to be static here. We've seen this is the same takedown, and he wasn't able to hold on to that ankle. He's got to stay low on the end of the lever and really pull it through, create some torque on that left knee of Phil Wells. So he stays high up around the leg there. Wells is just going to shoot that leg straight, sprawl out, break the grip with all his weight, and then he's in the dominant position.
Almost a video replay of what we saw in the second round, Josh.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and the big cut opened up on Iwanowski here. Or maybe it's Wells, I actually can't tell.
We'll see if we can get a look at that one. Someone certainly... Yeah, it looks like it's Wells. He may have taken an elbow from the under. Yeah, it's Wells.
Oh,
he's taken an elbow from the underneath there from Iwanowski.
Yeah, cheeky little elbows.
Holding your hand, not the glove.
No, but the glove's too big. It's not cheating.
Keep fighting, my friend.
I was just having a conversation and he's aware he's trying to get his hand out rather than cheat.
And Konrad throwing those elbows up, looking to do some more damage. With 2 minutes left in the fight, he's going to need every advantage he can get.
Oh, it's a good attacking position for Wells here if he can get to it. He's going to have back control if he wants to throw that left hook in. The gap between the elbow and the knee is wide open.
And again with a spinning elbow, and the corner team of Konrad screaming that Wells is tired. They want him to move forward, but does he have much left in the tank?
I mean, I hope we can get a replay of what opened that cut up, because it must have been the shortest sharp elbows.
Spinning back elbow, and the mouth guard is knocked out from Phil Wells.
Well, they're going to call a break just to restore the mouth guard.
Put it back in.
Iwanowski, I think he's going to have to really fight up for this last minute and 14 seconds.
Turn around, back in. Time.
Just over a minute to play with.
Well, he's got a headlock here, and he's got to be careful not to get thrown.
Wells muscling his man onto the cage.
Iwanowski doesn't really want to get tied up here. Momentum is with him.
The corner team screaming at him, make this turn, make this turn.
You can see he just tried to palm Wells in the face to force the rotation, but Wells is going to stay, well, trying to stay on the back. Looking for the single again.
Trying to throw his man to the mat there was Iwanowski, and both men slipping and sliding in the sweat and blood on the vinyl floor there.
This is the first time Iwanowski's connected his hands this low around the legs. And you can see Wells just as soon as he's, well, there we go, there's the takedown, but so high amplitude he lost control in the exchange.
That was very close to being a legal knee. I think he timed it perfectly there. Wells stepping in with a knee of his own. And what a brawl we've got here in the third and final round.
Yeah, Iwanowski surged forward, now it's Wells' turn.
Wow, what a battle here in the Indigo, Josh. 3 hard-fought rounds.
I mean, you can't fault either of these guys for getting stuck into this one. And they both knew what was on the line and that this was all to play for. Let's have a look at the replays here. And that elbow that caused the cut on the head of Phil Wells.
Yeah, it was a short elbow from underneath, just on the right brow of Phil Wells.
Unreal, much just have caught the angle perfectly. And this was the big pickup. And you can see he just lifts him so high that he doesn't control him. Great shots from Wells at the end there, the big wide hooks. This is going to go to the judges' scorecards, and it's going to be a very close decision. Momentum swinging back and forth throughout that one. I think whichever way this goes, the loser is going to be very disappointed, but they should be able to hold their head high for an excellent display of heart and some very good technical striking exchanges. We didn't get to see too much groundwork, and really that was down to the outstanding takedown defense of Phil Wells. Certainly the limb length really forming the foundation for that takedown defense, able to spread his base so wide, and it nullified a lot of what Konrad Iwanowski wanted to do. Well, the judges have rendered a decision. We're going to throw this one over to our MC, Andy Friedlander, who's going to make this decision official.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we have a split decision. The judges call this contest 29-28 Wells, 29-28 Iwanowski, and 29-28 for the winner by split decision, Phil Wells.
Well, a split decision there, Josh, and you've got to think that's a fair result. There were 3 hard-fought, closely contested rounds.